Welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Weekly Sting. I'm Joe Hutzler. Before we get to our first guest, want to let you know it is a special edition of the Weekly Sting. It's a Throwback Thursday edition. Our first guest will be live, but the other two will be back to some great segments that we've had throughout the year. Before we go any further, let's talk about social media. It's going to be a key factor in your ability to know what's going on this weekend with the ODAC tournament for softball starting. Track will be in Pennsylvania for the Penn Relays, and you've got two Senior Day/Senior Night festivities going on here at Schellenberger Field and down at baseball on Saturday. Now, without further ado, let's quickly move on to our first guest who has been on the show before, Miss Lynn Walsh. Lynn?
Hello.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Of course, thank you.
I appreciate it. Last time you were here, we were actually right here above Schellenberger, and we talked about volleyball, we talked about your aspirations as a student athlete. Mm-hmm. Today we're talking a little bit different. You've become synonymous with a couple things since you've been here at Lynchburg College. One is jump roping.
Yes.
The other now is a weekly segment that you have on the Daily Buzz, Walsh Wednesdays. And this past week, you did one about club sports, mm-hmm. which has had kind of an overhaul since Ben Smith mm-hmm. was named the director. Tell me a little bit about why you wanted to choose that subject for this week's edition of it, and then lead us into it.
Yeah, you pretty much covered it. Playing a varsity sport, I wasn't quite too well informed in the club sports world, but since coming back for second semester, there's been this influx of information about what's going on, and they're more well known around campus and what teams we have. I didn't even know half the teams that existed. So I figured other students might not know, and there might be students out there who want to join and who just didn't know how.
Well, let's take a look at Walsh Wednesday's piece from this past week, club sports here at Lynchburg College.
Since arriving in January, Ben Smith has taken the club sports program to new heights. With an active social media presence and new website, Ben and the athletes are excited about the future.
Well, actually, my wife is Abby Pizek Smith, the women's basketball coach, so we've been living in the Lynchburg area for the last year and a half, 2 years, and I was commuting back and forth to Virginia Tech, so when this opportunity came open, it was up my alley in recreational sports and was an opportunity that I couldn't pass up. My goal was to really be that voice for them, trying to advocate for them on campus, but get them involved regionally and nationally within various leagues. Our baseball and lacrosse teams already were, and I've seen those teams do very well this semester.
He's been a phenomenal help. I mean, way more than I expected when Lynchburg had told us about him coming in last semester. He's done everything for our social media presence. He's created a website for us for all club sports, listing every club sport, all the contacts they need to reach. He's created an Instagram. He's created a Facebook. He's really done way more and being able to get us outside of just Lynchburg.
I'd love to see all of our clubs in set leagues. Right now, I would say probably 33 to 50% of them are in a set league. So my goal this coming year is to get all of them into set leagues so that they're competing and have the chance to go to the national tournament.
Every team needs people. I mean, no matter what sport it is, everybody wants more members. It's always good. And if you want to join, definitely get in contact with somebody. Don't be shy. You'll really have fun.
For more information about how to join the club sport or form a new team, you can contact Ben Smith or visit lynchburgclubsports.com. For LHSN, I'm Lynn Walsh.
Very informative piece there with club sports. And do you remember how many sports there actually are in
I
club
think
sports?
There's 13 teams.
13.
I think they're trying to get 15 established.
Wow. That's a lot larger
Yeah.
number than I expected.
Yeah.
And of course, you saw some clips there of a couple of the teams that have in practice. There's softball as well for this. Women's lacrosse has been around for a while. What do you think is, from your perspective, the benefit of having club sports here at school?
Yeah, talking to Ben, he mentioned that a lot of the kids either were recruited to come play varsity sport and just found that it wasn't for them with their schedules and their time and just the adjustment to college life. So it's a way to continue playing the sport you love, just at not as much of a time commitment to you.
Do you think they'll have club volleyball?
They started one. They started club volleyball.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
So that's new as of this year.
Okay.
So it's pretty exciting, yeah.
That is pretty cool. Do you, as an athlete, a varsity athlete, regardless of the sport, do you guys ever make a point to maybe check out the club sports teams, or does it just not work with your schedule
Yeah,
sometimes?
I know for us with volleyball being new, we haven't had an opportunity to see what they're about. I know we talked about if they have a match on campus, we'd love to go support them. And I think we haven't in the past, to be honest with you, just because we didn't know it was going on. But now with Ben and the Instagram, and you can tell what's going on. I've heard of games being in the practice fields. Women's lacrosse had their senior day on Schellenberger last week. So now that students know where it is, it's more accessible.
Right, and of course they have that website as well, lynchburgclubsports.com, really easy to remember, and a really good layout for you to check out. I want to talk about the process of this whole segment, Walsh Wednesdays. I know it was an idea because I knew that you wanted to do more journalistic stuff as opposed to just sports, but what do you think through this point, I think you've done 5 now, what do you think has been the biggest thing you've learned that's kind of helped you figure out how to do it every week and do it efficiently and correctly as well?
Yeah, definitely the biggest thing I think I've learned is just to be flexible in that with people, and you're asking for a part of their day and a part of their time to tell their story, so you have to work around them and really capture what they want and what they're trying to portray to everybody.
What's the feedback been like from friends and family?
I get a lot of oh, hey, Walsh Wednesday. And I go, yeah, that's me. So
that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah.
What do you think it can go? I mean, where do you think something like this can help you get to? Not necessarily right now, but even once you graduate next May.
Yeah, it's been a learning process and learning what to do, and definitely with each week I feel like I'm getting more comfortable with it, and it's becoming an easier process, editing, filming, knowing what I need to say. So just being a step ahead of when I get to the real world and kind of having this experience already.
I think some people might want to know how you come up with the story ideas. Where do you get the thought to talk about fire alarms and of course club sports? I mean, where does that stuff come from?
It's definitely a collaborative process between you, me, LHSN. If I just hear something on the street of what's going on, the fire alarms was I live in the building where they're all happening. Not a lot of people have watched that piece clearly, but just people are upset with it and people want to know what's up.
Right. I think it's a really cool addition to what we're doing, and I think from your experience, I think it's something that LHSN can kind of work their way into doing more of. So your last thing I want to talk about is just your experience with LHSN. I know that you work with the Crittograph as well. Do you think that what's happening here over the next 5 years, what do you think this can mean for those that are coming in to Lynchburg College that want to taste or even want a career in broadcasting?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for someone coming in, the name Sports Network can be a little misleading. Obviously, I have a piece every week that's not dealing with sports at all. So just that, even if sports might not be your thing, it's being involved and being around the process that can really help you.
May have to, that'd be tough, but we may have to think about somehow
it flows, though.
Putting news at the end of LHSN or something. I don't know. I've thought about that before. We'll figure it out. Well, Lynn, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Your time. Really appreciate it. Great work as always. Next week you'll have a really cool Walsh Wednesday with one of our alumni, Lena Critter, who's here for a couple of days. So you want to tune in for that. Lynn, thanks again for your time. Meanwhile, we're going to step away. When we come back, Hornet trivia and a throwback to back in the fall of 2016 as we continue our Thursday throwback on LHSN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Weekly Sting, Throwback Thursday here as we get ready to go back in time. Before we do, let's get to this week's Hornet Trivia question. And this week we're talking about some special visitors that have been on campus. What is the name of the movie based on the life of Fiona Mutesi, a chess player from Uganda and a friend of LC women's soccer? Answer coming up after this segment. Now, we're going to step back in time to the fall where Daniel Rowe joined me on the set, and we had a surprise guest come in at the end to tell you about a really cool thing she was going to do. Danny, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. Week 2 of us being on the show together, and we want to focus on men's soccer first, because this is a team that last year we didn't really make a big deal about them losing the way they did, maybe for a day or two, but then it was back to women's soccer, and they're going on to New Jersey, and let's focus on that. But that loss to Virginia Wesleyan really stuck with the team. They didn't use it as a motivating factor, but they did keep it in the back of their mind. And right now, it's still early in the season, but they look different, they feel different. And I think for them, the biggest thing is they're just putting balls in the back of the net. They couldn't do that at the end of the year last year.
Yeah, they definitely struggled with that last year, but there's no doubt they have a bad taste in their mouth from the way things ended up. And I know what it's like as a former student athlete to be in that position and to want to get back out there and perform to the best of your abilities once again. And I knew they were chomping at the bit to get back out for this season, and so far they've really performed well.
Now we're going to just kind of wash away the Juniata game, because there's not a whole lot that you can pull away from a 9-0 victory when the team that you're playing is that bad. But Sunday, we were able to call the game against Greensboro. Real gritty game, real back and forth affair. Greensboro plays it tough. Officials got involved as well. When a team is able to win a game like that, where the officials aren't the best, where the other team's really pushing you physically and mentally, how, from your perspective as a student athlete, how much does it say about your team that you're able to come through in the end and pick up a win?
Well, a game like that, when you come out victorious, definitely builds your confidence. But the other thing it does, and we saw this in both games this weekend from that team, was their resilience and their consistency. They're continuously pressing on the gas pedal all game long, and they didn't let up. And that's a very promising sign this early in the season. Hopefully they'll be able to continue that.
Now, one of the other games that you're going to be a part of is this Friday, tomorrow, women's soccer taking on Southern Virginia University, and they're finally back home. A great weekend last weekend for them, outscoring their opponents 10-0 at the Roanoke College kickoff. For them, do they look like a team that is just back to business as usual? Does it feel like a team that maybe is 2 years ago? You were here for that run, that magical run. Are there elements of that, or is this just wipe the slate clean? It's a new team, and they're just utilizing that new talent to bring in some fresh feels about what they can do?
Well, I think the game that they have this weekend gives us a chance to really just kind of shore some little things up here and there. Clean up a little tweaks and different things that that coach says that they need to work on, and they have that chance to do that tomorrow.
Certainly against a team like SVU, it's historically not great. The other team that you're close to is field hockey. They have lost their last 2. They will play against UMW on Saturday. Outside of the obvious, if they beat a team that's ranked, that's a big deal. How big of a deal is it for them to win again after losing 2 in a row, and to an opponent that is a tough opponent, for their moving forward in the season and their confidence?
Well, this is definitely one of the biggest games, I think, on their schedule this season, just because the way the schedule has played out so far, and they're 2-2, lost the last 2 games, and this Mary Washington team is number 16 in the nation right now, and they lost to Lynchburg the last 2 years. And so I know they're itching to get back at Lynchburg, and at the same time, oh my goodness.
Hello, Elsie the Hornet is here. Hello. Welcome to the show. Come on in here to the middle.
What's up, Elsie?
She says sorry to interrupt Danny, as she just so rudely did. But there is a purpose for her being on here. She is gearing up. She's been working out. She is gearing up for a very interesting and very great event this Saturday for Humankind, a nonprofit organization here in Lynchburg College. Elsie is going to go over the wall at the Bank of James building in downtown Lynchburg Lynchburg. Sort of like that, yes. Has not flown before, but she will kind of get a taste of that on Saturday to rappel. We should say that. We should say rappel. She's not going to fly over the wall. I know that you have a little trouble with your throat, so you're not going to say too much right now, but are you a little skittish about? Yeah, I thought so too. A little bit nervous about the rappelling on Saturday, but at the same time, I'm sure you're really happy that it's going to raise money for a really good cause in humankind. She is all about supporting the local area, and you can get involved too. We want you to go to our website, lynchburgsports.com. We also want you to even just go to the link in the lower third here on the screen and donate. We need 10 people to donate $100. Donate, she says, you donate to get $1,000, which is our goal. We will say that Sparky at Liberty, Wanda the Wildcat, and the Hillcats mascot are all going to be there, and they have all either got to their goal or very close. So we're coming a little bit late in the game, but we know that doesn't stop our Lynchburg Hornet faithful. So want to make sure that you are able to help Elsie rappel down the wall for a great cause. We'll be there at that time to, yes, see, she's already working on her motion. Absolutely. I want to ask you, Danny, while she's here, do you have any advice for her? You're someone who likes to hike. You're someone who likes to take risks. Any advice for Elsie in that regard?
Rappelling is one thing I've done just a couple times, not on a big building like that, just a few smaller walls. So good luck. I don't really have much advice other than just kind of stay close to the wall and you'll be good.
Well, leave it to Mr. Rowe for a confidence builder. Well, we thank you so much for coming on the show, Elsie. It was wonderful to have you on. Good luck on Saturday. Of course, we'll be there to cover that event for you as well. Thank you. Fun times with Elsie. She will be around periodically. Don't worry, she's not going anywhere permanently, but of course, we really enjoy what Dell has brought to the table as of late as well. We'll step away one more time. We come back, Hornet Trivia Answer, and our last segment for this week's edition of the Weekly Sting. Lynchburg takes home the 2016 crown. Back to Foster, who just came out, now back in. A chance has begun it! Francis Foster wins the game in double overtime. And the pass is picked off by Vincent, who shoots it in! Joe Vincent from 3/4 field! The Hive has spoken, and Lynchburg wins! Welcome back, everyone. High atop Schellenberger Field, I'm Joe Hutzler, and as we did in the last segment, we're going to finish up the Hornet Trivia for this week, and we give you the answer now. Last segment, we asked you about some special visitors here on campus, most notably Fiona Mutesi, who had a movie based off of her life, a chess player from Uganda. What was that movie's title? Well, it was Queen of Catway, which debuted this past fall, and that movie is about her and all of her life growing up playing chess and how it eventually got her out of Uganda and on a bigger stage. Really cool movie. You should definitely check it out whenever you can. Well, now we're going to go back in time, speaking of women's soccer, and go to November 17th of 2016 and hear from Christine Domecq, who showed us not only that she's talented on the field, but she's talented off the field and actually brought some stuff on set to show off as well. Our first guest of the show is Christine Domecq of women's soccer. Christine, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I know that things are really busy for you right now as far as gearing up for the inevitable coming in May for graduation, but I do want to speak a little bit to soccer, and not talking about the result, but just your 4 years here at Lynchburg College and what that has meant to you. And really, when you look back on it, what has that, being a part of that program, done for you as a person and building who you are now?
Well, when I started looking at schools to play soccer at, I knew that I wanted to do nursing as well, and this was the only school that told me I could do both, and that I would have support system that would help me do both, because it's really hard to do both. But But Coach Olson was great, all throughout the years. He, even when things got tough and, I was going to have to miss a practice or something, he would always help me out and, work with me earlier in the day. So that was, a big part of being part of this team. But I came here for the soccer part, but I think I leave here more of not for the soccer, but for the family. I've made, my best friends in the world. I call them my sisters. I'm never going to not go a day without talking to one of them the rest of my life, and I hope that, I can continue that relationship until we're all old and in our nursing homes, and maybe we can hang out someday. I don't know, I can't even put into words what this team means to me or to anyone on that team or any of the seniors, because it's something special, and it sucks because I know I'll never get that type of family back.
Right.
And so that's really hard, but I wouldn't trade a single second or day or hard practice or run to the practice field or 2 mile for this team.
You talked about coming into the school and the nursing program, and I'm always interested to ask seniors when they're leaving, was it what you were told it was going to be? Was it what you were expecting when you came here? Whether it was tougher when you got here or it was easier, when you went on those visits and those tours and you spent the night, is it what you thought it was going to be?
So I always thought, I have to go D1 because who goes D3? No one plays D3. That's for bad people. And so I never really thought of going D3 until my high school coach was like, you should go. And I was like, yeah, I guess. And some friends would be like, well, D3 is at least you get seasons off. You only do your season. You have a 5-week off season. Besides that, you don't do much. So it's more relaxed. You can focus on school too. And I was like, okay, I guess that doesn't sound bad. And I came on my overnight, and one of the coaches at the time told me that if you win a national championship D1 or a national championship D3, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's a national championship, and you won't know the difference.
Great point.
That's the truest statement, and I'm glad I got to live that out and win a national championship as part of this team, because anyone who doesn't think D3 is legit, it's legit. We beat D1 schools throughout our time here. We've beaten Richmond and other schools like that, and so it was harder than I thought, in the sense that no, we didn't have an off season. Our team goes year round. We do boot camps and we lift out of season. So maybe we're not practicing together on the field with coaches, but we're out here with just us. We're in the weight room, just us. We're doing boot camps, just us, and we motivate ourselves to do it. So it's harder in that sense.
Now, with all of that stress that comes from balancing sports and education and being a part of those tough programs, you have to have ways, of course, to make yourself de-stress. And you love to paint, which I think is really interesting. I didn't know about that until this week. Why paint? What's something about painting that you enjoy so much?
Well, I didn't even know I was artistic until my senior or junior year of high school. We had to make letters for Teacher Appreciation Week to our teachers, and I just had so much fun cutting out pieces of paper, putting them together to make them look creative. And people were like, wow, you're really artistic. I was like, no, I'm not. So I never, that happened, but I was like, oh, it's no biggie. And then I got to college, and we do these things called Circes before home games. So on the practice before, 2 days before, we all pull names of someone on the team, and you paint them a Circe.
Okay.
And we're not really sure where the name came from or how our team came about this. It's been around forever, before Coach Olson was here. And I started painting and drawing, and every year it's gotten better and better. And now I do it, as you said, therapeutically. It's just a nice de-stressor sometimes from school and soccer. And it's really nice because I get to say, oh, I'm making this, I'm doing it for someone. I'm not doing it for I don't paint for myself ever. I paint for other people, which I really like because I know people like them, and so it makes me excited to paint and to do my best on them.
Well, you're exactly right about people liking them, because we have a couple here that people have already seen on the screen, but this one is my favorite. I mean, this one is so well done, and you look at, especially when you put it next to the photo. So you're able to just take a look at a photo and come up with this?
Yeah.
What's the toughest part? Because this is an actual canvas. What's the toughest part about painting on a canvas?
Smearing it. The amount of times that I have dropped pens or the paintbrush on the picture or accidentally put my hand in it and then went back down and I had to start all over is so annoying. The amount of canvases I have in my trash are more than I've given out, but that's definitely the hardest part.
This is definitely my favorite. This is really good. And of course, the other one that we like to show is the crest for women's soccer. And you did this one on wood. Is this one easier as far as the material that you're painting on?
I would say so, just because the canvas like smushes in the middle since there's no back to it, and this is flat and hard, so I don't have to worry about like indenting too hard and putting a divot into it.
Good point. Well, I like it. I mean, anybody who wants to put this in their house would be a smart person to do that for sure. Do you do this? I mean, can anybody contact you, or how do you just kind of do it based off inspiration?
Well, a lot of times, like the one of Marina and Rudy, I got from a photographer here at school, and I saw their picture. They post them on Facebook sometimes, or they post them on the website, and I see it, I'm like, wow, like that is such a cool photo. Like I would love to try and paint that. And like I'm not very good at faces yet. I've done a few faces, but I'm still working that way. But if it's like their back, I'm like, wow, that's great. I'm painting it. Like I love that. Yeah, I can do that one. Okay. So I just get inspiration mostly from that, or just like I Google stuff sometimes and see what I can find that speaks to me.
Speaks to you. Something that I can never understand is what speaks to artists. they just have their own thing. Well, also cool that she can paint on t-shirts too, so we might have a little conversation when we're done about getting some of those things done. Well, Christine, thank you for your time and your time here at Lynchburg College. Of course, it's been wonderful, and bringing the paintings by. I really appreciate it. Good luck the rest of the way, and we'll see you walk across the stage in May, right?
Oh, gosh.
It's coming on. Thank you again for coming on the show. Great work then by Christine, and great work now. I actually talked to Christine after I found a red chair that was at my house in West Virginia, and we cleaned it up, and she went to work on it with some great designs of our word mark, LHSN, down here as well. And the back is my favorite because it has, obviously, the voice on it that makes the chair. But really great job of the Hornet as well. So all of this done by Christine Domecq in her spare time. She loves to paint, and she did a great job on this chair. So if you want something painted, it can be any material, doesn't matter. She will give it a shot. Contact her and help out one of our student athletes here at Lynchburg College. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Tune in next week, same time, same place here on the Weekly Sting. And until then, remember, it's a great day to be a Hornet, and we are one nation.